Yellow testing. Make sure got audio hooked up. All right, I hear me, so we're good. Share this out. Going to try and start doing these somewhat more regularly. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but we'll see. Share it out. Alrighty. Thrown out there. So the way this works, I just run through issue queues, do it out in the open. If anybody ends up joining and they want to see something, then they can divert where we go. I kind of random walk when I'm doing it every day anyway. So today, I'm going to start with a real basic one here, and then move into something absurd that I honestly don't know how I'll solve, but I think I could come up with something. So we got update all dependencies to lit 2.0.0. Big deal. Lit.dev went gold. Yup. Where is it? Right there. All right, so we got a 2.0.0. Yay! So it's out of release candidate phase. However, means I've got dependencies wrong all over the place. Now, I didn't actually have the right one in there to begin with. The way that I go about solving this at scale, because you got to solve it everywhere, is I look across all our package.json files for lit, and we see we have an RC2. So let's go and grab that, and we'll replace it with 2.0. All right, so that's 141 occurrences. We have a couple projects in the mono repo. So let's search for other release candidates potentially. So there's 2.0. There's 142. No other references. Clearly I had it all on the same thing. That's confusing. Hi Neil. If what? I see it in the chat there. So let's go. We got this on lit 2. I'm gonna go push that out everywhere. Commit M, and then fun thing with GitHub, actually just throw in the commit message as the issue in question. Run it through, push. Oh, sad face. Git pull. Yep, we're good. Git push. I pull requested, did some merges earlier today, so I needed to pull those in. So now, all right, you end up getting this. It makes the association that it's to this commit, and we are at 2.0.0. Sweet. I don't have any reason to do a build, but I could do a republishing of the build at this point if I really wanted to. So, down one issue for the day. Only 184 to go. Oh, 183 I refreshed. Yes. All right, we're set now. Only 183 left to go. So, I think what I'm going to look into is this one. So, what is this one? Well, we added something recently. I added something recently. So, well, one, I guess there's two things here. The first thing would be that now we can do yarn start from inside the mono repo's HAXCMS elements directory, and we get a working copy of HAXCMS. Don't need a VM or a live server. Don't need to do any DDEV crazy configuring on localhost. Nothing like that. So now means that we have live running versions of these assets, so we can update them and see what happens. So added this week. Now all of the themes, because this is a layer lower than the theme layer, have this happen. So it's just built in. Any content that loads in, it'll find all headings, and then I can just generate a clipboard link to it. So it'll give me that as a viable address. I put that in. refresh it. And it should start with that being the thing that's most visible, right? Anchor links, not a big deal. However, I don't want any of my users to have to think about generation of anchor links. So if I were to go in here and I add a heading via HAX, and then we were to view source. Ooh, source is tiny over here. Well, that's interesting. I think it's supposed to be the whole size of the page. We'll have to figure that one out. It's definitely not in the other thing. So we're going to need to expand that clearly. But it's supposed to give me the source of whatever that heading is. And it's going to have an identifier automatically generated applied to it. So I guess maybe I have to refresh. It's mad at me. All right. Stuff. All right, let's view source on just that one. There we go. See, it generated an ID, so it has a header, hyphen, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to make it something in the theme layer that's clickable, but while generating that via HAX, it's going to have a unique ID. There we go. Right, so it generates a hash, basically a UUID, so that we can target it later. Hopefully it's unique in the entire universe, but there's really no requirement of that. So similar, and I was looking at this, the suggestion came up when I posted on Twitter about asking how people would think of these areas of the page being linkable. Dackmore sent me a link to this, which is pretty cool. I honestly didn't know this was a thing. So, it talks about how you can target IDs, that you can then get a URL hash, but then it gets into this, so that you can actually send someone not just a direct link to an article, but you see there's this very specific, hey, the text to highlight is this. So if I take off the S in worker, maybe that's not a thing. Maybe it has to be workers. Okay, it has to be the full phrase here. It would link me directly to this text in question. If I highlighted this, then I can do copy link to highlight. And this only works in Chrome, but you see we get something here, right? That's saying web workers have, and then comma, its associated problems. So it's kind of generating a like, hey, take a range from here to here. And so if I were to close that, open a new window, right, we end up with this part of the text being highlighted by default, and then I can deselect it. So it's slightly different than from a normal selection, but it's not actually part of the platform, unfortunately. Now, when I say part of the platform, what I mean is all the vendors have agreed upon how this thing works, what it should be handled as. So if I go back to the issue in question and this text fragments thing, unfortunately, it means we're going to have to do feature detection. So, not a big deal, but it's only going to work in Chrome. I have text. Yeah, there we go. Scroll to text fragment enabled. So people can opt out of this if they have some security consideration. Honestly, I don't really fully understand what the security consideration is of. Yeah, I mean, he does put in, privacy, right? So, I mean, he just mentioned that there are some privacy considerations of this. Personally, I could care less if someone links to a highly specific portion of my page. I don't know. That's just not within my concern necessarily. So what I'm thinking with this and the highlighting is much like how we had click on the headings, right? Go to this, generate a hash link. It'd be awesome if I could do this selection. And I can do copy link to highlight, right there. And I think, yep, there we go. It made it purple in the background. You couldn't tell. So what I'm thinking is it would be really cool to do in a as part of the actual system. So I don't know if it'll actually do. Oh, okay. So it just highlighted a header, right? So I have a header there. Let me see if I can get that text one. There it is. There we go. Okay, that's what I was trying to make it do. So it automatically highlighted this to indicate that it's a link right there. Now, not the end of the world. to not have this. However, particularly from a QA process standpoint, let's say I'm making a GitHub issue, there's some spelling issue in this, or I'm not entirely sure that the documentation of this page is accurate, something like that. And I was to take this section of the page, copy a link, it'd be way more effective to say, no, this is the thing I'm talking about right here that's screwed up. Not, hey, there's an issue on this page. Right now, particularly when it comes to course content, so we're on the same page as to what I mean by that. We'll go to hacks. Right, I have a long page of content. Here's even a half decently long page. Oh, good old Dogecoin. So if I was to say, hey, there's an issue with this, right, it would still be easier to have a conversation sending an exact link. Let's say it's a longer textual work, which we have some courses that are reasonably long, several hundred pages of material. I mean, we do a lot of custom development of content. That's why we have these custom systems for presentation of it. So you have a question about where was the answer to X on a quiz. Again, it'd be really effective to be like, look, it's right here. Not, oh, go read lesson 4. It's literally right here. Anyway, so that is the scope of what we're trying to achieve. So it'd be really cool if we could highlight a section and effectively emulate that button. All right, so I could highlight this and get a link directly to it. Now, it's not going to work in Safari because it's an interesting, unique, agreed upon feature. Sorry, I don't particularly care for Safari. But it's going to work in Chromium-based browsers. So everything but Firefox and Safari. So how would we go about making that? First, I need to know what's selected, right? So it's kind of a weird use case of the web. This isn't really an element, it's a selection. This is one of the biggest pain in the butts to work with when we were developing hacks. So browser get text, selected text, there we go. Get selected text, window.get selection. And supposedly this will give me a selection of text. Now, I'm wondering if there's somewhere in this article like how to actually using text. I hope you start using that. Link to text fragment browser extension. So clearly I have this extension. But we want to know, there we go, prefix, starting text, and text suffix, right? So it's got to be a portion of the text that's on the screen. And for those that are tuning in live, these are U-directed. So this just happens to be what I'm working on right now. If there's something in web components land that you would rather see, I can always get diverted pretty easily onto those things. So I'm going to use this get selection thing. So let's figure out what is selected, right? So we'll highlight that, inspect, fire up console, and then we'll just do window get selection. Okay. So we've got the entire text of what this is, the startup culture. And then what I'll do is I would copy a link to this highlighting and try to figure out how I could use one to generate the other, right? So we have the startup alongside, comma, alongside you. So it looks like it's going to take the first 3 words. Yeah, it's going to take the first 3 words of what you select and then the last 3 words. Now, what if we did like digital identity? What happens then? Copy it to highlight text while building your. Okay, interesting. And so that one is going to give me the 3 words prior, comma, the actual thing highlighted, comma, and then the 3 words after. Very interesting. Notice the hyphen to designate like the end of where this is. You get into weird stuff with like URL encapsulation. They're trying to write this URL in such a way that it's reusable. Kind of bizarre. So, all right, so for that one, all right, so we've got that, let's try and do the window selection thing and see what would be useful in there. So we have base node. Extend node, focus node. It's kind of like I just want the text, you know? There's only like 2 words that are highlighted here. Get selection. There is a function you can call off of it. Get range. Do stuff with the range. Oh, it might be that. It might be this. Yeah. Oh, selection object to string. Maybe that's what it is. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. So that is actually, that is what I was looking for. So if it's more than 3 words are long, all right, so let's put this over to the side and let's do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, and then we'll copy link to highlight. We end up with and break things. Okay, and the 3 words. What if it's 4 words? Still that. What if it's a whole mess ton of words? Importantly, well, that was a bizarre selection there. That's not what I selected, right? It didn't allow a partial word select. Okay. All right, well, that's an interesting aspect of this. So with what is currently highlighted, though, what happens if we do this? So I would need to know the first complete word. Yikes. So it'd have to be a space. I could lob off what that is, right? So if we generated this with the what you need to know in order to offer, blah, 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 blah. So, all right. This is just fact-finding land, to be perfectly honest. We gotta document this, so. Okay. If we have a whole criteria for generating of, all right, so it must be, well, what's going on there? Let's look at must be a full word. Boundary. If less than, it's going to be if it's less than probably 6 words, but let's see. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got 6, and then we get what do you need to know? Okay, so it's 6, that's fine. If it's less than 6 words, so now let's do what do you need to? It's probably going to have to get way more sophisticated to do it. Yes, okay, so if you have less than 6 words, just because of how this very weird thing works, if you have less than 6 words, you have to take the 3 words prior and then have a comma, and then the thing that's actually receiving the selection, and then a comma, and then the 3 words after it. So, interesting. All right, okay. So that goes into our requirements gathering here. So if it's less than 6 words, so count spaces after a split, then it must take the 3 words prior, the selected words, the selected 1 to 5 words, to be clear, right? And then another comma, right? Oh, and it has to have comma, it has to have that comma. Oh, that's bizarre. And then, okay. then the 3 words after the selected words. Okay. Space that out. Yeah, all right. So that's bizarre. Okay, now if it's 6 or more words, then we can just do the full phrase, right? Much like this. Right? So that is 6 words, all right? So we also must encode space, must do URL encoding /sanitization. All right, so I think that's all our criteria is. Must be on a full word boundary, which that could actually be a complicated one to achieve. That must be on a full word boundary. So if it's less than 6 words, we need to split it into, we need to figure out what the 3 prior to it are and the 3 after. I wonder what happens where it just says like, dude, I'm not even doing this. So let's do those 3 words there. Copy link. All right. It's still one up higher. All right, what if it's just to the word welcome? Then it matches the word itself if there's nothing prior. Okay. That is also a pain in the butt. And then what if the highlighting is right at the bottom? Let's do this. Always those edge cases. All right, then following pages they has. Interesting. So that's less than, what if it's just the word has? Lots of instances of the word has. Pages they has, I see. And then it's indicating here there's nothing after this. Huh. So it probably also identified something moderately unique as far as ensuring that there wasn't the word has somewhere else. I mean, there's the word has in here more than once. It is in here more than once. I also wonder, could I do it on here? Copy link to highlight, because that's rendered text within a, it claims it will. Let's see what happens if we go somewhere else. I don't believe that'll do it. No, I don't think it can, because that text is being handled via JavaScript. Yeah, I don't see how it would do that. But now if we did this tag, whoops, if we did this text, copy the highlight. Come on, go to the silly thing here. Oh, that one's not going to it either. Interesting. It was going to it before. And that one just did. Now, what if I did? That one did. Hey, that one showed the highlighting. Okay, it might be a timing thing because we got a lot of JavaScript that's generating parts of this, so I don't even know how viable this actually is. Let's, like, if we copy the highlight to this and then try to go to it. No, I mean, it's not even allowing me to. So that gets applied too early in the bootstrap. Now let's go to a site that is statically rendered. So HAXThePSU.edu sites are not progressively enhanced in their implementation, whereas HAXTheWeb.org is apparently just a completely blank site. Well, that's unfortunate. No, oh, it's there. I'm just not patient. Hi, CDN. Welcome to the real world. That took an awkwardly long amount of time. All right, so if we have that, All right, links to it. Let's go somewhere else, paste it. Huh. That is unfortunate, because then it's not applying that link visually to the page, which is surprising. So I guess we've discovered that we can't really do the thing in question unless it was something with what I had just put in. Yeah, because if I go to that, it works. So I wonder if this, because it's inside of something else. No, I got it that time. That's bizarre. It didn't pick that up a second ago. You just saw it not pick it up. Now, when I reload the page, that's something entirely different. Odd. All right. Well, I guess what we're saying is that this is not workable in what we're doing, which is part of requirements gathering. So without some other way of kind of reactivating this or parsing this back out, since it's, you know, progressively enhanced page, I don't know that it's actually possible to do. Now that works. So let's see what happens if we reload the page. Does that stay there? Okay, so it does stay there. I may have to do something where it actually apply it again. So if we went here, paste that, it doesn't work. If we highlight this, copy the highlighting and paste, it does work. You just didn't see it, but it does work as long as it's not identical to what it is. All right, go to the page. Okay, UX concepts, paste, there we go. That's what I was trying to make it do. Now I wonder if this has some styling applied to it in some way. So let's see if we do that. Okay, so there's the paragraph in question. It's got back, it's highlighted. There's something applied to the text that is not actually targetable. Interesting. Huh. Now, leaning on this approach, because it's not actually part of the spec, I can't use this reasonably across browsers. However, if I was to create my own implementation of this, then we could at least highlight the text in question based on generating a selection that matches. So what did that mean? It's let's see, JavaScript get selection based on string. Get highlighted selected text, how to, let's see what that is. Let's get selection text. It's almost like I need to go from a string to a selection. Okay. JavaScript from string to range selection, maybe? In other words, how to select a range from a string in JavaScript. Ooh, let's see what that says. There's no handy shortcut here. To get a substring, use the built-in method. Oh, probably skip reading the entire article since I am not going to give Medium my personal information in order to just read something. Good old incognito browser. Works every time. All right, so if we had, let's see, substring. Yeah, this is just about grabbing that. This isn't what I wanted, unfortunately. Selection and range. I wonder if there's a way to do that. I mean, so a selection is what's selected on the page, and range is a range of objects in the DOM. You can see here we got set start and set end. Now, selecting element nodes. Huh. This is very well done, this javascript.info article here. Range properties, range selection method, surround contents. I actually didn't know about that one. That's cool. Selection API. Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to like force selection of text. I can get a selection. Set position. I mean, I can also take a range and I can select something. I had to do that before. But tracking selection. Yeah, so this is telling me, hey, you've selected from 0 to 9. But I wonder if there's a way to set range text. No. It doesn't even seem to do that though. Oh, it does. Okay, that's clever. Okay. That's still not what I'm looking for, but when you change focus state, it automatically puts the cursor at the 10th position. Useful for putting things at the ends of lines based on user expectation. So insert a cursor, make unselectable. Set base and extent. Almost need like a find text. What's the best approach to search text? Search. Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have to look at the HTML elements that are in the child list. Wow, this is fun. These seem like they're simple and then they're incredibly complicated. Ready. All right, so when the page is ready, then look at child nodes. In my case, it's going to be something like that. All right, and look in the inner text. All right, it's different from inner HTML. For a string match on what they were highlighting, look for. If there is a match, we know parent node of the range to generate. If we have this, then we can set the start and end points accordingly. So we could actually share this in a way that is cross browser compatible, and I don't even think we need the Google wonky like tech. I mean, I guess we do. We don't want URLs that are like infinitely long. So it's almost like we'd be having to break that apart. So we need to break the whoops, text response off the URL into pieces. Prefix, selection of text, suffix, style. And if we have that, we have where it is before, middle, and after. We can search for the before, verify that the selection text occurs within, and then also verify the suffix text happens at the end. This absurd string manipulation error. So if we can do that, then, all right, so that would give us a range. Then convert the range into a selection, or apply some kind of text node-based highlighting. Now let's see if that's even there. Apply CSS to specific text nodes. Is there a CSS selector for text nodes? Oh, this is in draft from 2008. Not a good sign. Nope, that's not it. But let's use CSS selectors. Empty, I do enjoy empty. That's unfortunate. First letter, first line. Not blank, quotation mark, special font. Nope. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm looking for. You have to like inject some kind of span that wraps the. I mean, it could do that because I'd have a range, and so then I could actually use that wrap command. Medium again. All right. That's gonna yeah, we're gonna have to add something like that. So what was that command in selection? There's something about wrap, something where it would wrap it. Surround contents. So if we did a surround contents, interesting, new node, create element. So that would wrap it in a U tag in that case. If we surrounded it with something that didn't exist, and then we could easily target that thing that doesn't exist for highlighting support using wrap the text that we want to highlight, and then apply a fictional HTML element. Actually, I don't think, is there something HTML highlight? Is there a highlight element? Or mark? Okay. What about mark? Mark could be a good semantic way of achieving that. So if it was like this, let's see theoretically what we're trying to do. So we're trying to take the market trend. Where is it? All right. Trying to take something like that, right? And then edit as HTML, and then we would theoretically be putting a mark tag here. Yeah, I think that could work. Yeah, then it's semantically the correct thing. It could also just be on the initial page load or something, although it is kind of nice to have it actually just be highlighted there. That's kind of cool. All right, so we would do surround contents. Way to highlight the text in question via a tag, which will provide the highlighting. All right, so this would be a cross-platform way of achieving this while using something that isn't cross-platform, this text thing. It also allows us to style it, which currently I can't style this part, which would be neat as well. And I don't see why this wouldn't work. All right, so we've got this scoped accordingly. This is definitely the part of coding you don't see captured. So this is possible, not the way I had originally intended. This is the type of research that I would do for any of these. So I don't know if I'm going to go off and do this one today, but it is appropriately scoped now. So at least we got our lit assets up to speed because we've got the package.json files fixed. Very simplistic tooling change versus this, which I've just described, a rather complex engineering problem. But see if I can't do this at another time. So if you ever want this to be hijacked and be about whatever you want it to be about, then drop on whenever I throw the link up. This just happened to be what I was working on today. Catch you later.